Greetings builders, Daniel here and welcome to another video. Today I'm going to talk about the favorite builds of all players, the meta builds. And if you wanna try any of those, you can find the complete guides in the first comment or in the video description. And if this video helps you, please leave a thumbs up to support the channel. Thank you very much and let's get into it! Let's start with this amazing build that is being used by over 4% of high level players, the Ice Strike Invoker with the Monk class. Ice Strike is a powerful skill that dashes towards enemies and hit them with ice damage, but when combined with Heart of Ice it grants a destructive chain reaction of explosions. To visit the pros of this build, I will start with how simple it is to play it. You just need to click on packs of monsters to explode the whole screen. You don't need to manage many skills or mechanics. Here is just a simple hit to kill. Another great thing about this build is the survivability. We have armor, evasion and energy shield for a very safe gameplay. Yet another pro is the boss damage. With this build we get very consistent single target damage that is capable of killing tier 15 bosses really fast while keeping them frozen the whole time. Now to visit the cons, I'll have to say that even though this build has a great clear speed because of the chain reaction of explosions, you're going to spend some seconds running from pack to pack. This happens because you kill so many monsters ahead of you that it gives that feeling of an empty map. Talking about the budget, this build is cheap. You can get it destroying low tier maps with only around 60 exalteds. To advance to mid tier maps, I recommend around 100 exalteds, and for the high tier around 5 divines. This might look expensive, but before advancing to high tier maps, you're going to drop a lot of exalted orbs on low tier ones. Don't forget that on PoE2Builds.net you can find a list with all the equipment that you need to buy for this build, with direct links for examples being sold by other players. We only need one mandatory unique item for this build, the pulsar count ring that causes chilled enemies to shatter as if they were frozen. This combined with Heart of Ice and the right support gems causes this chain reaction of explosions. For clear speed I'll give this build 9 out of 10. You dash towards enemies and explode the whole screen with only one click. It's super satisfying to play this build. The boss damage is awesome and deserves 10 out of 10. Placing your bell close to bosses will grant you so many buffs and so many debuffs on your enemy that you're going to achieve a big amount of DPS even with low investment. For this survivability I'll also give it 9 out of 10. Here you have over 70% chance to evade, 65% armor and even a big energy shield. When the build's complete it's hard to die even on high tier maps. Next we have this super powerful and fast build that was chosen by over 31% of high level players, the Tempest Flurry Gemling Legionnaire with the mercenary class. I know that when you guys hear about attribute stacking you instantly think that it costs hundreds of divine orbs to make, but no, to put your hearts at ease I'll let you know that the results you're seeing on this gameplay were achieved with these attributes, that is totally doable with something around 10 divine orbs. To list the pros of this build, I don't even know where to start. It has an incredible clear speed, amazing boss damage and high survivability. It's just a build where you can have it all and be happy. I'll let you know that I was kind of sad when I finished recording and I knew that I was going to start another build. If I could, I'll keep playing this one for a while. Now to list the cons, I have to say that even though this build is cheap when compared to other attribute stackers, it still costs around 10 divine orbs to make, and that is not affordable for everyone right away. Another issue is that this build needs 3 mandatory unique items and it might be hard for you to capture elemental resistances. Now talking about the budget, as I just said, this build is not cheap. You need at least 10 divine orbs to make it work. You need 3 mandatory unique items for this build. The first one is the Pillar of the Caged God that grants 2% increased arrow effect per 5 intelligence, 2% increased attack speed per 5 dexterity and 10% increased damage per 5 strength. Next, we need the Hand of Wisdom in action that grants 3% increased attack speed per 25 dexterity and lightning damage per 10 intelligence. Finally, we also need the Murdering Victor's body armor with increased attributes and spirits per socket runes. This armor can hold up to 4 runes at a time, which means up to 20% increased attributes and plus 40 spirits. On the cons I said that it was hard to get elemental resistance on this build. To remediate that, you can get plus 20% to all elemental resistance here using soul cores. For clear speed I'll give this build 10 out of 10 and I'd even like to say 20 out of 10 if I could.
You never stop moving and your attack speed is so high that using Tempest Flurry will actually make you faster than just walking. Since Pillar of the Caged God grants this much area of effect, our Herald of Ice explosions are huge and can kill enemies way beyond their line of sight. You clear so many maps per hour that this build is going to pay itself in no time. The single target damage is also amazing and deserves 10 out of 10. You have so much damage and attack speed that you are going to deal tens of millions of damage in just a few seconds. It's great to kill big bosses with this one. For this survivability, I'll also give it 10 out of 10. You have a big pool of life and energy shield to keep you from taking big hits, and all of that combined with over 70% evasion chance. But the best part about the survivability is that 90% of enemies are going to die way before having the chance to get near you. And finally, the most played build of them all is the Archmage Spark Stormweaver with the Sorceress class. I finally decided to try the most played build on Path of Exile 2 to see what the fuzz was all about. And damn, now I understand all the Spark boys out there. This build achieves a huge mana pool to take advantage of the Archmage buff that grants a percentage of your total mana as extra damage. I must confess that I had a blast playing this one. To visit the pros of this build, I don't even know where to start. It has an incredible clear speed, destructive boss damage and high survivability. Above all of this build is also very easy to play and an amazing currency farmer. Now to visit the cons, I'll say that this build isn't cheap. To get a build like you're seeing on this video, you need to invest some divine orbs. Talking about the budget, as I just said, this build is not cheap. You need at least 10 divine orbs to make it work. You only need one mandatory unique item for this build, the Everlasting Gaze Amulet, that not only grants a huge amount of mana regeneration but also 30% of your maximum mana as extra energy shield. This is super important for us to still have energy shield even with Eldritch Battery on. For clear speed, I'll give this build 10 out of 10. You have a lot of projectiles running on the floor on full speed and with a huge duration. With this build you totally kill enemies far away from you. It's just awesome. The single target damage is also amazing and deserves 10 out of 10. As most boss fights are in closed arenas, this build creates a massive terrain of damage under their feet, with hundreds of sparks projectiles running on the floor. You can deal tens of millions of damage in just a few seconds. For this survivability, I'll also give it 10 out of 10. You have a huge pool of energy shield and your spark can kill enemies far away from you. If you mind your position, you'll never be in real danger. And that's it for today, guys. Are you playing any of those meta builds? Please don't forget to tell me in the comments and leave a thumbs up to support the channel. I wish you guys an amazing day and don't forget to keep building!